Welcome back for another episode. Today is something a little different, something I've been wanting to learn for a while, is TIG welding, and TIG welding aluminum specifically. And I got myself an AC/DC TIG welder. Can run on both 110 and 240. I just have 110 in my garage at the moment, but then I've got everything I should need here to practice. I've never done TIG welding before. I've got my MIG welder back there, and I'm okay with that. But the purpose for learning this is my intercooler has some small holes and likes to leak, causing lean in my Audi. So I'm going to learn how to TIG weld aluminum and fix my cracks. And I've never done this before, so I picked one up. This is the Zuno. It does AC, DC TIG welding. It also does stick welding. It's got all these options that honestly I don't know that much about. I've been researching, and I think I found some settings that might work for what I want. And I've not tried this out before. My little practice cards are still actually wrapped up. But I've got everything I need. I got my helmet, I got my cards, I got my filler rod. This is a 40-43 16th inch filler rod. I'm using the blue top electrode. It's a 16th inch. It's 2% lanthanated. This was recommended for AC and DC and for welding aluminum, although with how thick of a plate I'm going to be using, this might not be a large enough electrode. We'll find out as I practice. I've got a respirator because I guess this puts off a lot of gas, and I don't have filtration in here. Got some gloves, I got my welding jacket, I got 100% argon. I've got my welding tip almost set up. I'm using a number 7 ceramic cup, and then I've got my rod in there, but it is not sharpened yet. So we are going to do that, and then I'll go through the settings that I'm going to start with. I don't have one of those fancy grounded tables. I just have this piece of metal here, so we'll see how that works and how I can make it work and practice welding. And then I've got some alcohol to clean up my parts and my grinder over here to grind the tip. So first thing we're going to do is actually sharpen the tip on this thing. So this just like comes apart like this. This is your extra this is your extra electrode part. If you just loosen that a little bit, the whole thing will slide out the front if you got it set up properly. So I'm going to go sharpen this tip, and even that I got some advice on, because you don't want to sharpen it from the side to get your tip. You want to sharpen it like this, and the reasoning they said is because if you go sideways, it creates lines sideways on the tip, and it can make your spark go all funky. And if you go like this, it directs all the lines towards the tip and gives you a better arc. All right, so let's give this a sharpen. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's pretty darn sharp to me. And that actually took quite a bit more force than I expected. But it makes sense, since you're going to be pumping a lot of power through it, that it's going to be pretty tough. And it is tungsten, and tungsten is very tough. Alright, so I'm going to put this back in. So it should just slide right in, the collet that's inside there. And I'm going to stick it out I don't know, yay far, about 1/4 inch or so, a little more than 1/4 inch. Something like that, tighten it down so it doesn't fall out or fall in anymore. And then there's a bunch of O-rings in there because that's where the gas comes through. Alright, so that's set up. Alright, I'm going to go through the settings I have. And that fan is actually pretty loud. So I'm on AC. I'm going to do the 2T, so controlled by this because I don't have a foot pedal. I'm going to start with 120 amps. So if it's on, it's doing 120 amps. And this metal I'm doing looks like 1/4 inch. That's pretty thick, so hopefully that's enough. But I mean, we can adjust it later. I'm working with 110 volts. So slope down is 1.8. My stopping is 28 amps. Post flow 4 seconds. It's aluminum, it cools down fast. I don't know, I'm gonna go to 5. We'll see what that does. AC balance, I'm doing 40%. AC hertz or frequency, I'm gonna do 120, start with there. Pre-flow, I'm gonna do 1/2 second, 0.4 of a second. Slope, or the start is 50 amps. We'll see how that works. I don't know, I've never done it, so I don't know. And then it'll go right into 120 from there. So start at 50, go to 120. And that slope up time is 0.6 seconds. So it'll go from 50 to 120 in a little over 1/2 second. I don't know how this is gonna work. We're gonna see. I've got my argon set over there. It's already on. It flows at about 15 liters an hour. All right, let's get dressed up and see what we can do. Not sure what I did there, but it didn't like it. I'll try this again and see what happens. So it's not melting very well, and it doesn't seem like the gas is flowing. It's definitely flowing. I think maybe we don't have enough power into it. So we're going to try and up our starting amps, and our continuing amps. Oh, that's maxed out. Alright, so I messed with our settings. I'm going to do the start at 100, and then I maxed out on my continuous, and then I changed the AC hertz down to 89. and let's see what happens this time. Now it looks like our tip is not pointed anymore, so I'm actually going to pull that off and sharpen it. Alright, so I'm going to try the 4T. Well, that's the best one I've done right there, if I can get it to start. It's still dirty. But it's there. But I don't know, with how thick the aluminum I have to fix, I don't think this has enough power unless I can get 220 out of it. I'd have to make a new outlet. Let's see if I can get it consistently to start though. I got to start. That got a little more penetration. Oop, melted my glove. It's not going all the way through though. Oh, maybe it is. That is hot. No, it's just melting through to my makeshift table. That's all it's doing. Yep, melted my glove straight through. So these will protect you from some sparks, but definitely does not protect you from heat. Alright, let's try on something thinner. See if I can do any better. So significantly thinner piece here. So we'll keep the same settings and see what it does. So big difference. That just melted a massive hole right through the middle of it. So that's hot. Turn that down. We'll go to 80. And we'll do the start at 50. And I'm going to sharpen my tip again because it's really dull now. It took a while, but pretty happy with that result. So I was, I guess, starting it wrong. I was trying to start it like MIG welding, going in after you hit it, but after I started touching the tungsten tip to the metal, starting it and then lifting off is when I got more times that it would actually continue the arc. And then this is the final one I got for this round, at least on this thinner metal. I need to work my way up to the thicker metal so I can actually do the repair. But I messed with so many different settings, and I ended up with like a start of 45 amps and then sloping up at 0.3 seconds to 88 amps, and that's how I got this to go. The argon flow is the same the whole time, it's about 15 liters per hour, and then my aluminum rod there at the end, finally got that to work. But this is definitely going to take a lot more practice and time, but at least I've got, you know, a good base going here on making it work, and I don't know, we'll show progress as I learn. But thanks for watching. I mean, this is definitely an epic failure, not really learning experience on how to not quite do it right, but still learning. You know, you got to start somewhere, right? Anyway, thanks for watching.